Well, hello again, fancy meeting you here. It's Ginger on Wheels. Today I'm gonna answer a question that I get a lot. Hey Ginger, should I buy the Wolf King GT Pro or the GTR? Which scooter do you think is better? And I can't answer that question for you. Everyone's use case is different, but today I wanna give you 6 reasons that you might consider the Wolf King GT Pro instead of the GTR. So let's roll the intro and get into it. So this is the draggy footage that I took from the Wolf King GT Pro this morning. I forgot to turn the GoPro on though, so you guys got a little background video, but this was on max settings, full charge, and totally crouched as fast as the Wolf King GT Pro could go. We hit our infamous 30 mile per hour mark in 4.4 seconds, just hellaciously fast. It's also worth noting that the ambient temperature was around 55 degrees. I weigh 230 pounds today with all my gear, and I'm 6'2", but I was still crouched on the scooter. Not bad, right? 59 miles per hour in 33 seconds. I'll take that. All right, we're out riding. And today, like I said, we're gonna be talking about 6 reasons why you might consider this scooter, the Wolf King GT Pro, over the Wolf King GTR, which is slightly newer. Ooh, before we start, I should mention, you can buy both the Wolf King GT Pro and the GTR from voromotors.com. I've got affiliate links for both in the description and the comments. And if you use the code Ginger on Wheels, you get a little discount on both of those. Purchasing through the link and using that code gives you discounts and it kicks back to the channel, so it helps me out too. Excellent way to support this type of work. And I will start with the first major difference, which is pretty obvious to anyone shopping around. It's cheaper. It's about $800 cheaper to get the GT Pro over the GTR. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that the frame and a lot of the components for this scooter were recycled off the Wolf King, but it's also newer, so you're paying for that premium just to have a little newer scooter. I hope you don't mind, by the way. I think we're gonna be running some errands, so we gotta find our way down to the Whole Foods to do some returns. And the second reason, I think, which is most obvious when you're looking at the specs, aside from the price, is the battery. This thing is rocking a 72 volt, 35 amp hour battery. It's inside the deck here. It's not swappable. It has 2 GX16-3 charge ports, so you can use a lot of nice chargers on it. It's a very robust battery with a lot of cells in parallel, so you can get a little more squeeze out of it under full throttle, I think. The Wolf King GTR has a 33 amp hour battery, but I think the controllers can push a little bit harder. It has that double tap turbo mode in the throttle. They both have the same specs on paper as far as power output, but because the GTR has a smaller battery, you're actually stressing the cells a little harder, which I think is pretty relevant. You might not own the scooter long enough to see the real long-term side effects of that, but it is worth noting. Though if you do plan on keeping the scooter for 15,000 miles or so to the point where you would notice that, you could always just buy a new battery for the GTR because it is swappable. Don't get me wrong, you can buy a new battery for the GT Pro too, but it's a lot harder to get in and out. Basically you have to dissect the scooter. The third reason why I think you might want to consider the GT Pro over the GTR is if you're more oriented towards street riding. This thing has 1 inch longer of a deck. You got a little more space to plant your feet. Now I should add, when I say you get 1 inch longer of deck space, I don't mean that the deck is actually longer, but the GTR has that handle in the front with the charge ports on the front of the deck, so you can't really stand there, can you? But it is the same length. And also the handlebars are a few inches taller. They're the same width on both scooters, but you do get about an extra 2 or 3 inches of deck to bar height on this GT Pro. Ooh, taking that squeaky corner. I got a nice fresh pumped up PMT tire on the front. I had a PMT on the back, but it went flat because I underinflated it. So I just spent a couple hours last night, actually 3 hours, replacing the rear tire on this with a stock street tire. I do like the combo too. The PMTs are a lot more flexible, but I like that stiffer rear end when I'm just cruising around. This thing is so much fun to ride. I haven't been out on a Wolf in a long time, particularly the Wolf GT Pro though. All right, the fourth reason, which is very relevant to a lot of people, is the availability of parts. This scooter has the standard 11-inch tubeless tires that we see on a lot of scooters, and it's possible to get them for pretty cheap. The GTR has 12-inch tires, which is a first for a scooter, but so far as I know, you can only buy them from specific retailers. I don't think I've seen any on AliExpress yet, and if you do, they're gonna be more expensive than the 11-inch ones for sure. Also, the battery on this thing. It's $300 cheaper if you want to buy a replacement battery for this scooter, and you can buy them from all sorts of retailers, and you can even find them for cheap on AliExpress for like $1,000. And I say cheap only in relation to the GTR, which is $1,300 for a new battery. If you get a flat tire on the GTR and Voro Motors is out of stock for whatever reason, you could be waiting a long time to get them. But with an 11-inch tire, you can shop around just for any 11-inch tubeless tire from lots of retailers like Rev Rides or Alien Rides or Voro, or even Alibaba or AliExpress. And you could get them a lot quicker if you need to. Ooh, while we're out talking about availability of parts, chargers are a lot easier to find for this GT Pro. That is if you want to buy a stock charger. The GTR has proprietary charge ports, which means you can't just buy any old 84-volt charger off AliExpress and expect it to fit. You've got to buy two special little adapters that cost 30 bucks each. Or if you're not comfortable using the adapters, then you got to throw down for the actual charger, which can be upwards of $100. All right, on to reason number 5. This bad boy has a thumb throttle. The GTR has a trigger throttle. And after thousands of miles of riding scooters, I do think both throttles have their place. But since the GTR is more oriented towards off-roading specifically, they kind of had to go with the trigger throttle. This is not the thumb throttle that comes with the scooter, by the way. The thumb throttle that comes with this scooter goes in and out, not up and down. So I replaced this one myself. I like this one a little bit more. I did a video on that earlier, actually, and I'll link that up in the right-hand corner now. If you want to click on that after this video, you can watch that one too. But the thumb throttle is much more relaxing. It's much less stressful for cruising on the streets, like just the kind of riding we're doing right now. Riding around on a beautiful day with all this power. Now, both scooters do have cruise control, but if you're not into using cruise control, or if you're doing a lot of stop and go riding, kind of like I am today, this thumb throttle is a lot easier to use in my opinion. A lot of people complain that the trigger throttle gets kind of crampy in the wrist area. I used to feel that way too, but I don't really think that's the case for me anymore. And I think it's just because I ride scooters so much that I've got stronger wrists now. That's one thing you'll notice when you get one of these hyper scooters, you'll legitimately build muscles in your hands and wrists. For the first few days of ownership on one of these giant scooters, your hands are gonna be sore from gripping on for dear life. All right, we're almost to the Whole Foods. I gotta drop off some returns and then I'll get on to reason number 6. This is such a beautiful day. I can't even believe this. It just popped up out of nowhere. It's been cloudy and freezing for the last few days. Tomorrow's supposed to be cloudy and cold too, but today, bam, random 56-degree day. It's sunny, so we get excellent weather for riding, but it's still brisk, so I'm not gonna overheat in all my riding gear. Speaking of riding gear, if you're curious what I'm wearing right now, you can check out my Amazon shop, amazon.com/shop/gingersreviews. I made posts for everything that I wear during winter riding and summer riding, all the gloves and jackets and stuff, so you can go check that out if you want. All right, we have arrived. Let's see what our parking situation's like. Very nice. As usual, I've got my folding lock from pevoutlet.com in here somewhere. There she blows. Give it a quick beep. Unlocked. We're gonna lock through here and through the frame of the scoot. All right, all locked up. Cover up that fingerprint reader. I hope there isn't a line today. It's the middle of a Friday afternoon though. I've got high hopes. Well, that reminds me, I also need to buy salt. I ran out of salt today when I was gonna go make some fried rice. No line, we got lucky today.
All right, you're all set.
Thanks. Excuse me, do you know where you guys keep salt?
That should be aisle 25.
Thanks. I have a feeling we're about to overpay for salt. I don't call this place Whole Foods, I call it Whole Paycheck. Okay, $3, I guess I could do worse.
Select payment type. Thank you for shopping at Whole Foods Market.
You're welcome. All right, mission accomplished. Good to go. All right, on to the 6th and final reason why I would consider buying the GT Pro over the GTR. It's lower to the ground. Now granted, that means we've got less suspension to work with, but the handling, it has increased handling like you would not believe. Riding the GTR and the GT Pro back to back is pretty night and day as far as I'm concerned, but it really lowers your center of gravity. You feel more secure at high speeds and you can take corners faster. Like I said earlier, it's got a more commonly used tire size, which means you can buy PMT Street Slicks or the PMT E-Fires, and they both do really well on this scooter. You can really shred. And you just saw me fly over that speed bump. It's not like the suspension on this thing is lacking by any means. It is still a Wolf. This was the scooter my channel grew up on. I first started making real videos with the Wolf Warrior 11 Plus. Oh, going 2 miles per hour? Oh, that was a cop. I'm glad I didn't blow this stop sign. Let's do a little shredding so I can show you what I mean. Oh yeah, I make that noise when I start getting frisky on the scooter. Get a little air. I wonder where I got that from. I make sound effects when I start doing fun stuff. While we're talking about handling, I should also mention the weight. The Wolf King GT Pro weighs 110 pounds, and the Wolf King GTR weighs 143 pounds. So the GT Pro is a little bit easier to throw around when you're doing tight turns and stuff, but that also translates to a different type of handling, which can mean picking it up and putting it places or carrying it upstairs. The GT Pro weighs significantly less. This is a nice combo with the stock street tire on the back and the PMT on the front. It'll save you a little bit of money and you still get all the benefits of having that PMT grip in the front. Let's flip this bad boy into dual motor and really send it on the way home, shall we? Got 78 volts left, 91%. Yes, you heard that correctly. We only used 9% of the battery so far out of our 35 amp hour battery. Ooh, yeah. Dual motor speed mode 5, no joke. That's always fun. This is a very steep hill. I'm gonna floor it. Oh, those PMTs have so much grip. That's nuts. Yeah, 43 miles per hour up a super steep hill. I'm 230 pounds, 6'2". Such a nice scooter, just lovely. All the grip in the front. I like having that PMT on the front because that's one of the major problems with these high-powered scooters is the front will just peel out like crazy. Oh, we're going. Oops, a little bit too much beans off the line there. All right, everybody, well, that's gonna conclude my video. 6 reasons why I think you should consider the GT Pro over the GTR. Obviously, the GT Pro isn't for everybody, but it's definitely for a lot of people. Riding like this never gets old. Don't forget to check out the links and the coupons in the description and the comments. Leave a comment, leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Share this around with your friends. And I'll see you for the next video where we're going to be talking about 6 reasons why you might want to consider the GTR instead of the GT Pro.